6, I bought her a delightful chocolate bunny rabbit from a well-known high street clothing and food retailer, which she loved. It's called Max the Rabbit, but she wouldn't eat it because she formed a bond with it.
Sure.
Eventually,
because she's a simpleton.
And anyway, 2 days before it was up, I said, "Look, we've got to eat this." So we ate it. It was a maudlin affair then. For some reason, I forgot how attached she got to it. Bought her the rabbit again this year when I saw it in the shops. Now, last Sunday night after I got home from the show, I said, "Look, the rabbit, we've had it since Easter. It's got 3 days left on its best before date. We're going to have to eat it." She wasn't really happy, so I snapped an ear off and ate it. And she said, "No, you can't just have it with one ear off. You've got to take the other ear off." So I took the other ear off and ate that, and it was really tasty. So I snapped its face off and was munching away. And she started to look a bit sad. And we were there looking at this gorgeous faceless chocolate rabbit. And I said, "Oh, look at it there with its little paws by its side." I said, "You know what it's saying?" She said, "What's it saying?" I said, "It's saying, 'Mummy, Mummy, what happened to my face?'" And she burst into tears.
Oh, no.
Now, Sammy, was that just irresponsible behaviour by me?
Well, yes, if she'd formed some sort of bond with the chocolate rabbit.
Yeah, you're asking a girl who earlier labelled a 3-year-old relative vile.
I said her behaviour was. She's a gorgeous. I'm so sorry if you're listening.
I do find that it tends to be the ladies of the female persuasion that will form emotional attachments to inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Cars, for instance, will often have names, which generally gentlemen don't seem to do. As you say, kind of toys will again have names.
Oh, we've got a drawer full of toys with names. Yeah.
I don't even want to know about your drawer full of toys now.
It's hideous.
You've gone far too far there. And it's also actually one of the reasons why that alone could be an act on Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Because one of the other standing ovations, I think, went to a woman with a pig on a lead. And the act was that it walked through a small number 10 Downing Street, knocked over a kind of red box of paperwork, and she said, "Now it's going to play the piano," and it sort of stood on a tiny piano and made some noise. Audience loving it. Yes,
that's brilliant.
Because of course, small animals, cute pigs.
Yeah, everyone loves them.
They steal the nation's heart. All right, well, we'll play this track for your girlfriend. Then it's Billy Bragg and The Price I Pay. I love the Bruce Dickinson rock show on Saturday nights. I look forward to it. It's a Steve J BBC Six Music with me, Stephen Merchant, and Harry and Sammy are here in the studio. I discovered actually, Harry, and be wary of this. Sammy must be referred to as Sammy and not Sam.
Oh, really?
She'll bite your face off like you bit off the face of that chocolate rabbit, if you call it that, so be warned. Earlier, of course, I mentioned to the listeners, suggestions, please, for things, challenges, tasks I can set Rufus and Harry when they're down in Glastonbury. In a sense, a penance, if you like, for being able to get tickets for doing nothing, whereas there are many other people who've had to go on phone lines and call for hours and register, such as Sammy, who's pointing to herself. Don't be afraid, Sammy, to voice your anger and frustration.
I don't want to talk about it because I will, in the manner of your girlfriend burst into tears. Inconsolable, just not able to be consoled.
No consolability for you at its current juncture. Okay, so we were looking for suggestions, Aaron. What did have people come up with stuff?
Yeah, they have. Tim very kindly says, "Why not pitch their tent by the sacred space with endless drumming, guaranteed no sleep? Cheers." No cheers, Tim. No, that's not good. Alistair says...
That sounds like a man who made that mistake 1 year.
Alistair says that he thinks we should have to bring back a dust cap off the Arctic Monkeys tour bus, or the Killers. He's not fussy.
A what cap?
A dust cap. Yeah, I think so. Or maybe, I don't know. You could make us battle the way to the front of the crowd and repeatedly make loud, boisterous requests for other band songs. Be interesting to see how long they last before the die-hard fans kill them. He'll be requesting My Generation from the Kaiser Chiefs.
That's a great idea. Just constantly, but I think it's other artists that are playing. So while you're watching the Kaisers, just keep shouting Goldfinger. Or maybe during Shirley Bassey, just keep shouting Goldfinger even once she's played it. And whilst she's playing it. Because I went to see Ryan Adams in the week, and apparently, there was a guy who was sat on the table that we were on, and because it was a kind of thing it was an exclusive gig for the BBC, and there were tables. It was a very nice affair. And there was a guy who'd come along with his cousin on our table, who thought he'd come along to see Brian Adams. He genuinely thought he'd come along to see Brian Adams.
People are still making that mistake.
Yeah, but apparently I didn't realise that when people used to shout Summer of '69, Ryan Adams would come down into the audience and ask them quietly to leave in a very discreet way. But I thought that's a very civilised way of handling that particularly.
And then once they left, he'd play it.
Exactly. Alright, we need to race towards the news, but we'll squeeze in this clip from Mazzy Star. It's Fade Into You. Apologies to Mazzy Star fans for cutting it short, but we have to go to the news. That's Fade Into You. After the news, we'll have a listener selection plus Naughty by Nature. Yeah. From 1991, Naughty by Nature and Uptown Anthem. It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Stephen Merchant. It's the final half hour of the show, and we have a listener selection coming up shortly. Prior to that, I just wanted to mention an email that someone sent to me, which somehow sort of, it got me thinking. And it says, it's from Siobhan, and she says, please play me a song to blast away the feelings of self-loathing I'm currently experiencing. Bit dramatic, you may think. I was on the tube yesterday, looking at all the adverts as you got the escalators, and there was a poster of a handsome man with mad hair and slight stubble. Oh, he's quite handsome, I thought. I wonder if he's a new singer or something. Not quite. It was a photo of the subject of a new biography called Young Stalin, charting the young life of one of the most disgusting human beings ever to have existed. A man so awful that other dictators use him as inspiration. Is Stalin the worst person ever to fancy? And she signed herself Siobhan Eva Braun Marshall, which seems a bit harsh. Now, it's interesting because I can relate to this, because I remember, this is a terrible admission, but a friend of mine had a book once, and he was flicking through it, and he went, oh, what do you think of her? And oh, she's quite foxy, right? It was a young, she was, in her 20s. I thought, oh yeah, ding dong. Guess who it was?
Go on.
It was a young Rose West. I didn't realise. I did not realise. And obviously, immediately I withdrew the comment. It's too late. It's out there, Ian. You know, your mind's been warped in that way.
Yeah.
But have you ever had any inappropriate crushes that can top that one, Sammy?
It's not along the lines of evil dictators, but I was looking through some family photos once.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
What?
We are going that way.
Wait a minute. Are we sure we can talk about this?
Yeah, and there was some,
Okay.
that's fine. There were some pictures of these gents in uniform, and I thought, he's quite, if I was there around that time, he's the kind of man I'd go for. It was my grandfather.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
It's like something from Back to the Future. You'll slowly turn invisible. Wow, what about you, Harry? Any inappropriate crushes?
Well, reading a newspaper article. Well, I don't really read newspaper articles. I skim through.
Over someone else's shoulder?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a nice picture of the Mitford sisters, but obviously they weren't particularly nice people. So, yeah. That wasn't ideal.
Have you ever had an inappropriate crush on it? No, I don't know. I could put it out there to the listeners, but I worry that are we turning into regular DJs?
Yeah, just bad ones.
You're right, let's not bother. Well, I'll tell you what, 64846 if you happen to have one that's interesting, but we're not going to dwell on it. We're still looking, though, for Herculean-type tasks to set Rufus and Harry when they go into Glastonbury. Penance, as it were, for having free tickets. Particularly, let's say you're particularly annoyed because you didn't manage to get through on the phone lines. Set something that you feel, a challenge that you feel will help to ruin their weekend. I need to do something, otherwise it just feels like you're getting something for nothing, and that
We're going to be working.
We're not going to be working except for a couple of hours, and it's hardly work, is it? Although we may be missing a lot of great bands.
Well, that's true.
We should pre-record it while we're in London.
Oh, I tell you what, let's do that. We can get smashed.
Very clever. You're a Panisse Brothers fan, aren't you?
I am,
You'll
yes.
love this, then. From their 2003 album, Yours, Mine and Ours, that's the Panisse Brothers and Blinded by the Stars. Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Stephen Merchant. Sammy, have you got some more suggestions there for challenges for the
one or
boys?
two, yes. Alice in Bristol thinks that Rufus should have to strike up conversation with every single juggler or jester's hat wearer he sees, chasing them across fields if necessary.
That's a great idea.
I do enjoy that, actually. I think I'd just like to see a posh boy run. This is another one from another lady called Alice, but on a different number. I challenge Harry and Rufus to locate me at Glastonbury.
Good.
It's never going to happen.
I quite like that, though.
Is that all she's given?
That's quite what she looks like.
It goes on, but I think you should she should maybe wear a flower or something, and you should try and find her. And Chris in Helensburgh, never heard of that before. Hi guys, my idea for a challenge in Glastonbury would be for the two of them to have a little tea party in the middle of the gents' toilets area, tea cosy included. Perhaps even a child's tea set, so they have to pretend they're drinking.
Could I just ask listeners not to encourage Steve at this point, because you are just going to pick the most filthy and degrading ones for us to do, aren't you?
Can I just encourage listeners to encourage me at this point? 64846 stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. Okay, so each week I like to get a listener on who recommends a tune to me, something normally that I'm unfamiliar with, and hopefully we have Joe on the line. Joe, are you there?
I am. Hello, good afternoon.
That's very polite of you. Thank you. Good afternoon to you, madam. It's nice. It's nice to have a certain formality, I think, occasionally. Nowadays, we're all, I'm wearing jeans, Joe, frankly, and a t-shirt. I'm far too lax. The great days of the BBC when I had to come in a kind of, in a ball gown gown or whatever. Those have long since gone. Exactly, a waistcoat of some kind, yes. So yes, nice to talk to you. You're calling from where?
I'm calling from, at the moment, my lovely kind of Hogwarts-style office in the University of Glasgow.
Are you a magician?
No, I'm a
wizard.
geographer,
Oh,
which
you're a
is kind of like a magician.
And what does doing geography involve nowadays? Is it do you collect soil samples?
It involves studying the interconnections of everyday life, as well as looking at lots of maps. That kind of thing. It's great.
What's lovely is you've got such a lovely kind of calming, gentle voice that when you say that, it kind of sounds magical and wizardly.
It is. Geography's magical.
Is
and
it?
It just gets bad press or no press.
I was one of those people who, in my school, I didn't go to the best school in the world, so consequently I had to choose between geography or history. So,
so did I, but I picked up history at A-level.
see, this is it. I didn't ever do geography, so I've no idea what on earth it's about. I don't know where the rivers are in the world.
You're missing a trick. Well, if you're at Glastonbury, you can go to the G-spot and find out more.
I don't know what that means.
You can, that's some
spot. Where
No,
is
I've
it?
never found it.
Where? Come on, now we had to, didn't we?
It's obvious, isn't it?
High five. So what's the G-spot? Is this something that someone's setting up?
there's a collective of geographers. I think collective noun for geographers might be a cagoule, but there's a G-spot of them that is going to be in a tent at Glastonbury, so people can find out about their emotional and their spiritual and their kind of cultural geographies.
I will either see them or the Arctic monkeys.
Yeah, one of the two. So I don't quite understand. So are they sort of, they're a bit highfalutin, they're kind of new age geographers, are
No,
they?
well, cultural geography doesn't get a look in at school geography, but at university it does. And one of my things as a geography educator, because I do teach in schools and I write resources for kind of media companies like the BBC, is finding out about people's kind of cultural geographies and the way they see the world and understand it through everyday interactions and moments and things like that.
Are you saying
From
that?
Jack Rosenthal.
Are you saying culture geographies?
Cultural geography.
Cultural
So you study
geographies, right.
kind of music and art and theatre and films and that kind of thing.
And is this something that is this a branch of geography that someone's come up with because regular geography is quite boring?
No, it's not. Geography's not boring. No, it's just more than what it's sold at school.
I see.
And cultural geography's been around for absolutely ages, and it's great. People should look it up.
Okay, all right. Well, we can Wikipedia that later.
Yeah,
Now you also I've got some note here. Does it say sometimes you work part time in Woolworths?
I do indeed.
An
Yes,
arch rival to Argos, of
Pick and
course.
Mix and Plimsolls. I do. I work there part time to fund my studies because I'm doing my part-time PhD up here, and it's great. I want to thank two 10-year-old boys who bought me a bunch of flowers to say thank you for selling them Pick and Mix the other week, which made my week.
I thought you were going to say for selling them cigarettes.
No, but we can do that now, but we wouldn't.
No, of course
But
not.
yeah, we do have that choice. You
That's
see.
very generous of them, isn't it? That they
Yeah,
you sold
they
them some
saved up
Pick
their
and Mix and they
pennies. So
bought them?
one week they forwent their Pick and Mix, and last week they bought me a huge bunch of purple stocks.
Isn't that wonderful? Because we were bemoaning the state
I know,
of modern
so-
youth earlier.
I heard you say that, so I thought I'm going to get that in.
Yes.
They
no,
need to
that's-
know that there's a good side to kids, and yeah, so that was lovely of them to do.
I once found an old lady's purse in the post office once, and I returned it to her with a note, and I got a little thank you card back, but no thank you cheque or cash or reward, and I was furious. I never did anything good for anyone ever since.
Oh, money's so dirty. You don't want that. You just want the love.
You're absolutely right. Now, you are going to suggest to me some music, and what have you chosen for me?
I have chosen a track called What I Would Say in Your Funeral, which sounds a bit miserable, but it's not. It's from the album Muji Mama, is this monkey music by the artist, I think he's pronounced Mugison or Mugison. He's an Icelandic musician who was recommended to me when I gave some geography students from the University of Iceland a tour. I gave them a walking tour of Glasgow a couple of weekends back, and instead of paying me with evil, dirty money, they paid me with two albums of music, and the Mugison album was one of them, which I've since passed on to Ben, your producer.
Well, that's very, very sweet indeed. And you know, once again, you've been sort of conned there, because I think money will help you buy food and
Money is a
shelter.
good thing, but as I don't have much of it, I like to kind of see the positive of not having much of it.
Sure. Okay, well, let's listen to the track. Joe, we've enjoyed talking to you. Stay there. We'll come back to you after we've heard it.
Okay, then, bye.
Thank you. Mugison, or possibly Mugison, we're not entirely sure, Icelandic group, and the track was called... What was it called, Joe?
What I Would Say in Your Funeral.
No.